Some heroes swing swords, some cast spells, but the Artificer, they build the magic themselves.
Boots on stone, we lost the way. Who's the driver? Not today. Map is flipped in disarray. Level 3, but tend to slay. Bought a sword with evil glow. Cleric healed, then burst, we know. Wizard spells all gone by noon. Rogues already looting soon.
So, what is an Artificer? The Artificer is the inventor, engineer, blacksmith, alchemist, and magical scientist of D&D. They combine magic, tools, intelligence, creativity, and preparation. Unlike wizards who study pure arcane theory, artificers apply magic through inventions and craftsmanship. Just think of yourself as a fantasy-type Iron Man, or a magical engineer, or a potion scientist, a runesmith, or a gadget builder. So, what makes you an arty type? Or artificers? I'm just going to call them arties, okay? They use intelligence for spellcasting, so that's what you're going to use. Intelligence or INT. Basically means that you're smart at problem solving, you're tactical in your thinking, and you're going to go with utility over raw destruction. So basically, anything that happens, they look to you and you go, I planned for this. So being an arty is different because their magic is different. All right, their magic relies on gadgets, inventions, infused objects, potions, magical devices, etc., okay? For example, Firebolt could equal a tiny wrist cannon. Cure Wounds could be a magical injection or healing device that you create. Featherfall, you could use an anti-gravity gadget or some sort. And a shield, you can use an energy barrier projection from your wrist, your legs, some kind of machine, okay? So this also makes the Artificer one of the best classes for roleplay. Remember, as an arty, you're different, okay? You can see tools as your weapons. So think of it as a tool is your staff or your knife, okay? Tools, all right? You can use thieves' tools, you can use smith's tools, you can use tinker's tools, you can use alchemist supplies. You can use those tools constantly. They can craft, repair, modify, experiment on, identify magical items with them, etc., whatever your imagination comes you. So you can tell me how no other class feels disconnected to their equipment, right? So they can tinker with their magic, right? They can magically alter small objects. So you can create glowing stones like recorded messages, tiny sound devices, moving effects. Once again, using your imagination. If you're really creative, you can abuse this in the best and most intricate ways if you want to. For example, you can make something that will cause fake distractions. You can make magical calling cards. You can be creepy, like a monster or a machine that makes creepy whispers, a machine that creates battlefield signals or alarms. You just got a perfect chance to make it pretty funny if you want to. All right, let's talk about why some people want to be artists. Usually it comes down to infusions. This is a huge ability, okay? You can infuse items. Basically, you can turn ordinary gear into magical equipment. As you can see, with Dungeons and Dragons, that might be cool to have, right? For example, you can make magical armor. You can make weapons that return back to normal if they're destroyed. You can enhance Arcane on anybody. You can create bags of holding, which is pretty ironic, or iconic, I should say, in the D&D world. You can create repeating shots, crossbows, like a machine gun type crossbows. So you're basically the party's like magical quartermaster or sword. And you can actually create different types of fantasy weapons if you have the materials, of course. So many people would ask, so why infusions are so strong? Well, you make the party better. You basically improve everyone else's equipment or weapons. For example, you could buff the fighter's weapon, make it more stronger. You could improve the cleric's armor. You can give utility items to the rogue. Or you can help the wizard conserve resources. Just basically just a support system there. It makes the whole group stronger. Alright, let's look into the battle style of an Artificer. Okay. You could be very flexible in the way you could create your combat. Alright? They could be a support type. They could be a tank type. They could heal. You could blast enemies from close or far. And you can control the battlefield. It's one of the most versatile classes in the game. I know you've heard about other versatile classes that we've talked about earlier. This is one of them. They also can do some types of ritual casting. They can cast some spells as rituals, which means they don't need any spell slots. And it's an extra utility. Plus, it's preparation heavy. So as long as you prepare it, we should be good. It'll reward your time and diligence for smart players. Let's look at one of the cooler abilities that you have. It's called Flash of Genius. It's one of the best games. It's one of the best mid-game abilities where you can add to your intelligence and modify it to saving throws and ability checks for yourself or your allies. So this creates like amazing time and amazing moments during your gameplay, like stopping traps, preventing failed saves, helping allies survive like dragon breath or something really huge that a monster can use to one-shot you basically or your team. And you can turn failures into success. So you're kind of like a battlefield tactician. And just like every other class that I talk about, this class also has a subclass or a list of subclasses. I'm just going to go over a few of them. You could be an alchemist, which is like your magical scientist. Your focus is basically on potions, healing, chemicals, support magic, things like that. Kind of feels like a fantasy medic or plague doctor or potion master of some sort. So things to look out for, like you kind of just throw in concoctions while helping allies survive. You get a potion, you get a healing, you get a chemical, stuff like that. Then you have your armorer. It's pretty self-explanatory. Magical powered armor. Think of it that way. It's probably the closest thing to fantasy as like being Iron Man. You build magical armor with different modes for you and for others. You got your Guardian mode, which is like a tank style armor. Think defensive, protective, frontline bruiser. Then you have your Infiltrator mode, stealth focused. Think lightning, launcher, sneaky movement, scouting, stuff like that. This subclass is insanely popular because you are the weapon system. Then you have your Artillerist. Deals with explosions and arcane cannons. This subclass builds magical turrets. Think about that. For example, flamethrowers, force cannons, defensive generators, things like that. You kind of feel like a magical artillery operator, a battlefield engineer, or a demolition expert. Then you have your Battlesmith, which is your steel defender companion. This subclass creates a mechanical companion. Think about that. He could look like a metal wolf, or a robotic hound, or armored spider, or tiny construct style dragon, or a big one. It's up to you. It fights in melee, it supports your allies, and it commands every construct that you make. So it's kind of like having a big old mechanical or small companion to help. So, why do players love being an Artificer? Well, it gives you massive versatility. You can adapt to almost anything in the game. If you have the creativity and the imagination, you can do almost anything. And it's incredible when it comes to creativity, like I just said. It rewards imagination more than any other class. And you get to constantly help the group as a team support member. And you help solve problems in unique ways. Plus, it has a potential for amazing roleplay because every invention tells a story. That would be the strengths of being an artificer. But we gotta look at the weaknesses too, right? It's not a simple thing to play as a new player, okay? It can overwhelm new players. You have to manage your spells, your tools, your infusions, your subclass mechanics, your preparation, etc., etc. You got a lot on your plate to deal with. All right. But the class rewards players who enjoy planning, combos, and creativity. So if you're good at all three of those things or some of those things, maybe this would be a good class for you to do. Depends on what you want to do. Because this class is like perfect for people who liked to invent stuff, or engineers, or like tactical gameplay, like to make magical gadgets, be a supporter, be a helper, and who like to deal with problem solving. So people who are really good at playing this class, they enjoy the questions. They enjoy like, how can I solve this creatively, and help my party? To kind of help with some character concepts for this roleplay. I know this is a bit different than the other videos that I've done, but I feel like this would help. Think of it if you're creating this character as like a retired military engineer, or magical blacksmith, or potion merchant, or arcane archaeologist, stuff like that. See what I'm saying? A rune mechanic, things of that sort. It'll help. Next time on Dice Duarte's, the blades have clashed, the spells have been cast, the storms have raged. Now we look back at every class we've explored so far on this channel. From the fury of the barbarian to the raw arcane power of the sorcerer. From the shadows of the rogue to the inventions of the artificer. We're diving back into every class once again real fast. Their strengths, their playstyles, their subclasses, what makes each one unforgettable at the table. It's going to be a real short version. Just stick with me. Whether you fight with steel, magic, faith, nature, or pure chaos, there's a class for everyone in D&D. So next time, we explore on Dice Duarte's.